Why are you running for Gander Town Council, and what are your qualifications for this position?
Hi, Hannah. First of all, thanks for asking me here today. This is a great opportunity and a great idea in lieu of a public debate, which I really love. I love Gander. I've grown up in Gander. This is my town, and I've always been a volunteer, and the best way to volunteer and give your time in a valuable way to this town is through town council. And I fully realized this when I sat on council previously, and I got involved in a lot of projects, especially recreation, and I was chair of the water sewer, the new treatment plant. That was a great position. I thoroughly enjoyed it, and I can't wait to go again. It took a few years to come around again before I wanted to. I wanted to make sure. I'm retired now, and it's something that I really want to do. My qualifications are primarily through my union experience, my previous council experience, my union experience, through negotiations, conflict management, and finding resolutions outside the box.
Okay. So I'm running for Gander's Town Council because I feel that I'm a part of the community and that I can make our community as good as it can be with the people that are working there already. I want to be a team player, and I want to bring things to the community that are fun for children, fun for adults, fun for our seniors, and I also want to help in correcting some of the issues that we have going on. Our town council is doing wonderful thus far. I just feel I can add a little tiny bit of positivity and encouragement with some new ideas maybe to go forward with that. Yeah, and I think that my past experiences in life have given me good qualifications to be able to help with that. So through my different learning and my different roles with my jobs.
I think for me, well, why I'm running for Gander Town Council, I was on council for 4 years. So, I mean, I got the feel, I know what I'm getting myself into. And my experience, one major thing was the fact that I've been on council for 4 years, so I know the inner workings of a council. Number two, I was a municipal police officer for 30 years, so I do know the inner workings of traffic and everything else within the town. And number three is I was a town employee for 30 years. So I understand what town employees are going through, and I understand exactly what compromise, I understand all those things, and I brought it to council once before, and I'd like to bring it to council again.
I ask myself this a lot, actually. Why am I doing this? And I keep coming back with the same answer. Me and my husband were in St. John's for 18 months building a seniors home during COVID. Times were lonely, and of course you think about home. So I was in St. John's, and and the Town of Paradise, so I used to see different programs and events, and I was able to watch like different clubs pop up and different volunteer aspects and avenues, and I'm like, yeah, we can do that. Oh, we haven't got that home. Yeah, we can do that. So I came back home just before Christmas. I have all this energy built up. I'm fired up. I'm like, if another community can do it, why not us? I think we should do it. So that is my goal. My business background will help me through this. I'm all about, profit doesn't mean numbers. Profit means as long as we gain something out of an experience and how we're going to go through with accomplishing our goals.
So I'm running for Gander Town Council because it's something I've been interested in since I started my career with the town back in 2010. I've learned a lot during my time with the Town of Gander. I understand council proceedings and how the committees work and how things evolve around our residents and our business community. During my time with working with the town, I've seen lots of room for improvement and, of course, lots of trials and tribulations along the way. And I feel that my experience as a supervisor with the Town of Gander is well suited to represent the residents in the business community as one of their leaders of the council.
What do you think is the biggest issue facing Gander today?
So right now, I think that Gander has a few issues. We have a lot of good positive things coming up in the future. But right now, obviously, the housing issues are a really big problem for anybody that is a senior, low income, and now even middle class individuals are having issues with housing. So I think that's a large problem. Our hospital facing the issues that it's facing, whether it be obstetrics or different elements that come and go, our retention for nurses and doctors for staying in Gander are issues, and I think that we need to be bold in helping correct that stuff. So right now, that's my two biggest things I think that are issues, and obviously with housing, the homeless is growing, so we need to look at that.
The biggest issue facing Gander today, I think there's four. One of them is affordable housing. Number two is a place to rent. That's one of the things that I'm hearing a lot of. Number three is the fact that we have no land. And number four, of course, is the crime aspect of it. There are ideas and plans that I have in my mind for the affordable housing and the rental and the land, but the policing aspect of it, with what's been happening, our municipal police, we've kind of shoved them off to the side as far as I'm concerned. They're sitting in the fire hall. They've lost their identity, and I just think that we need to bring them back out of the fire hall into a department of their own. I think we need to hire more. I think we need to have them working later into the evening. There's a lot of things that for problems within the town.
I thought about that question. I feel like it's not a issue, it's a cycle of weaknesses that I think pretty much every major town or municipality has here in Newfoundland. You're starting with your health, you have your mental health, you have your shortage of doctors and nurses, and then you bring it to, you have, in your health you have issues, and then you're going to have, if you're sick, you're not well, you've got addictions, and then your addictions lead to homelessness, and then you have housing issues. And then once you have that, and then your cycle continues to that, and you're going to have, then you're going to people that want to go to work, and then they have daycare issues, they can't get in, and then you have seniors that they can't make ends meet, they can't pay their bills, they're choosing between pills or their car payment. I feel like it's a cycle. We have a cycle going on. There's not one specific issue that's like strictly to Gander. Is something that we have to work through in this given economy because of COVID.
I think there are several big issues facing our community right now, but the biggest would be public safety. All too often we hear about how there are small crimes, petty thefts. People don't feel secure at the properties anymore. Seems like it's a daily or weekly basis where people are having their homes broken into or their property damaged through. And I think one of the solutions that problem is working and collaborating with the local RCMP detachment, improving our public safety to allow a full complement of 4 municipal enforcement officers to try to achieve 24-hour coverage and take the policing role away from the budgetary process and have it as a fundamental requirement of our community.
That's an easy one. It's housing, especially in lieu of 192 people I was reading in the budget of 2023. 192 nurses will be coming here trying to find a spot to live to go to school at College of North Atlantic. And we have severe housing shortage. Now, Sarah McBride, who was on council before, she was head of affordable housing, and we determined the spot where we could go. It's actually west of College of the North Atlantic is town-owned land, and all the surveying, all the water aspects are done in terms of drainage. Environmental impact studies were done, but the problem is commercial builders tend to want to make money, and so we have to find a solution working through government, either through provincial government or national government, to make people aware and get this in everybody's heads so we can move forward and find a creative solution to how to get the houses built and funded.
What steps does the town of Gander need to take to address the need for affordable housing?
Well, of course, I had touched on it when we were talking about land. And if you look at Gander's makeup, we're surrounded by the airport. The airport owns a lot, of federal government owns a lot of our land, provincial government owns some more. We have small amounts of land ourselves, and the cost. If you're going to build a house in Gander, you're going to pay $80,000 for a block of land. So if you're a developer and you want to come in and you want to develop and build apartments or build affordable housing, first thing you're facing is $80,000 for a block of land. We need to change that. We need to figure out some way, sit down with the federal government, sit down with the provincial government, and try and get some of that land, and try and get it either gifted to us or at a reasonable price, so that the developers can use that land to do the very thing to solve the problem that we have.
Affordable housing is something that I'm in a construction company, so I know what it takes to build a home. I know the cost exactly, not down to the nail, but I know when you're building a home, you got your groundwork, you got your hookups, you got there's like a tree. You have to pay a tree deposit. That if for me as a contractor, we have to plant trees or you won't get your deposit back. That can probably be like I'm trying to say the unnecessary things that aren't going to put the housing forward and let it go forward. I feel like that's something that we need probably to look at. Probably some more community space, probably non-traditional housing avenues like multi-generational facilities, like you'll share a backyard, you'll share a fire pit, you'll share different things, and to help with the footprint of a home, the main idea is to have a roof over your head, not necessarily a backyard.
So some of the steps that the town needs to take to address affordable housing are one, availing of land that's not expensive to develop, looking at all the possible options in our community, working with the local developers to try to mitigate costs in developing the land. Some of those costs related to permitting fees and the costs of having to build a home outside of the labor. Some of our building permits now range as high as $3,500 just to start to build a house. We've also have a $1,500 water and sewer levy for a plant that's already been constructed and already started paying down the debt on. We need to remove some of these fees and actually make the build homes affordable. And then, of course, we need to collaborate with government agencies and different departments to be able to come up with programs and ways to make housing developments affordable to the residents.
Kind of touched on it just then. It's number one, we need to find a place that's close to the College North Atlantic, and that place west of Gander's ideal. But now we did make a step. We bought the old Pentecost church for $500,000. A lot of people go like, why did you buy a dilapidated church? But I did my homework. It's not dilapidated. They were just waiting on contractors. And this is something that's going to happen. They're going to go in, but that won't take care of all our problems. What we need is probably row housing or similar to a seniors complex that we can help build where students can go live. And if they're close to the campus, they're close to their work and they're close to their studies. And we keep these people in town. And hopefully, when they graduate, they'll be nursing right on down to the hospital here where we have a shortage.
So when it comes to affordable housing, obviously there are different things that come into play. So land development, whether it be somewhere existing in town or it would be on the outskirts of town, that is a big issue. I think that undeveloped land on the outskirts of town may be a cheaper alternative because it's going to come down to pricing. The materials that they're going to use for the housings are going to need to be researched. I think that going to other places in the world, not only just in Newfoundland, that have come up with low-income housing should be mimicked or at least looked at. I think that those conversations may have to happen with developers that have experience in making a low-income housing or renovating buildings that may be of existence here in the town. Hopefully are already working towards things like this, but I'm very interested to get in to see what the actual behind-the-scenes conversations are about that.
What is council's role in fostering positive economic growth, and how can the town better support the business community?
Okay, so for the town, for fostering economic growth, I see the town has a platform. Like, it's a platform and it's the foundation for our growth. Like, the town needs, besides lobbying like the provincial and federal government and other businesses to come here, they need to be a facilitator. They need to bring businesses together, profit and non-profit. They need to bring people for goal. Okay, we need affordable housing. There's construction companies. Before a construction company, well, maybe we can get a supplier on board. Then you can go to CMHC housing. Then you got United Way. There's a lot of different platforms that we can be pulling in, and we got to think outside the box. We can't stick to what we've known for the traditional. We got to go outside, and the town just needs to encourage these people, everyone, to get together, and we'll grow and we'll aim to fulfill that target.
So council's role in fostering economic growth obviously is making sure that our services are sustainable, the tax base is affordable, our mill rate aligns with the with businesses and the requirements. We need to compare ourselves to other striving communities and determine how they've been able to increase growth, reaching out and communicating with the local business community, and of course, making sure that our spending is well within our reach. The only way to make our growth affordable is to avoid unnecessary spending. Some of those things that I can recall in the past year or two is, giving monies to the local airport authority for business development to the tune of $450,000. Purchasing of structures like 59 Elizabeth Drive for $100,000 or $500,000. Maybe some of these fees and costs can be used to lower the mill rate for the business to achieve that economic growth.
I look to the past for that. I would like to think that council before I was in there was a rather conservative council, and conservative council under Claude for many years did an excellent fiscal job and gave us a fantastic financial fiscal base. And so going forward, we have a very solid base financially. We're also a growing town. So in order to foster that growth, we have to keep growing. We have to build the infrastructure around it. I know another recent traffic study was just done, but are we ready for the future? Because this is going to explode, especially with the gold explosion. That's the major sector of growth now. That, along with the nursing and the housing, and to ensure that we're ready for that growth. I mean, we could be the Fort McMurray of Newfoundland, who knows? And that comes with growing pains, and we all know that. So we've got to look through communities that like that and see what happened to them, communities that grew very fast, and ensure we don't make that same mistake twice.
Okay, so I think that the town needs to come up with ideas, maybe a list of things that our town need for business opportunities. There are a lot of young entrepreneurs out there that would love to be able to do things within the town. It's just that there are roadblocks that are in place, whether it be policies, whether it be taxation, whether it be niches of where they can develop to. It's not easy being a small business to start up. It's extremely hard, but we need to come up with new policies and new ways that we can work together with individuals that may want to come to the town to bring in different business opportunities. But there are lots of different ways, lower cost for doing things together, whether it be things that we can negotiate together, like give and take for different businesses to make the value become lower to be able to start. Maybe things are not necessarily for money, but it would be different elements that we can trade.
Well, I think, when it comes to council's role, if you look at what's happening in Gander right now, Newfound Gold was going to leave Gander and go somewhere else. And it was council that stepped in and put a stop to it. And now we have such an amazing thing going on here in this town. Also, we have Exploits Gold, and we have Labrador Gold. We have other things that are developing. Look at what's happening in our tourism industry. If I remember correctly, years ago, we would They'd stop in here to find something and then they'd leave. Now they're staying. We have things like Come From Away is going to be here this summer. There's going to be 15,000 people walking around our streets, driving around our town. And that is truly amazing, and every business in town is going to benefit from this. But we also need to sit down with the business community. Compromise is a big thing. That's the one thing I learned when I was a police officer. You just can't go.
What is your favorite memory in Gander?
So my favorite memory of Gander, I'm 42 years old now, but being a small boy and parking up inside down of James Boulevard and walking the entire street to the airport, just to be able to see, the snowbirds, being out on the runway, seeing the cormorant, the old Labrador helicopters doing their demonstrations. Back then as a boy, it was they were a lot bigger looking than what they are today. But it was to be able to celebrate why the town of Gander was created and why where we are today, and to celebrate the Festival of Flight and to be able to see that flight and having festivities and food stands and all sorts of little fun activities for the children and for the adults to enjoy, bringing the entire community and surrounding communities together. Geez, I can recall thousands and thousands of people lining the streets up at the airport and around the runways. It was absolutely amazing. I think we should try to get that back again.
I love this question. It's great. My favorite memory, I remember walking by the old Gander Gardens, and I remember seeing a tail of an aircraft peeking above the trees, looking towards the McCurdy building. McCurdy building wasn't there then. My father and I were out walking, and I said to Dad, what's that? I was about 7, I think, or 6. And he said, that's a Boeing 747. So we got aboard a car, we went up to the airport, and this is gonna freak you out. We walked right onto the ramp. There was no fence. Walked right onto the ramp where the Boeing 747, and I couldn't believe the massive size of that aircraft. So, right then, I think maybe, if not before, then I was hooked on aviation completely. And what better town to live in than aviation? I've served on the NAM board. I still kind of involuntarily volunteer there, volunteer and help out once or twice a year. And I just love everything airplanes. I taught at GFT and I was around airplanes and pilots all the time, so it was great. So that's my favorite memory, Gander.
So I have a lot of memories from Gander. I'm not originally from Gander, but of course, just like it is today, a lot of the outskirts communities come to Gander. So I've been coming here since I was a very small child. I have memories from staying in the hotel down there to spending time at the lake, Brenner Mall, growing up, coming in, using the schools in here for our cadet program. There was all kinds of different things that I did in Gander. My biggest memory is making my own family here in Gander. And I had the birth of my son down at the hospital, so I'm really, I'm one of those that had an opportunity to use obstetrics down here in a positive manner. I had my family close by. I was in the community. It took me minutes to get to the hospital, and I only had minutes. So it was very, very important for me to have the hospital right there. So again, my family and the birth of my son was definitely my most favorite, but there's many little nooks and crannies of Gander that I appreciate very much.
My favorite memory of Gander, I have so many. I really do, because I spent a lot of time, again, I was 30 years with municipal police, and I was 30 years I was involved in this town. I'm from Gander. I like to consider myself from Gander. So I've had pies thrown in my face, and I've been in the dunk tank, and I've became part of the Biggest Loser. I've done all the things and had fun doing it. It was so great to meet everybody. It was so great to do the things that I was doing and watch this town grow. So one memory, I haven't got one. I got hundreds. And I'll tell you one thing that I really like is that sometimes I'm over town and someone will walk up to me, and it was someone that I coached in basketball 20 years ago, and they're married with kids that are going up through the system now, and they say, I remember when. And of course, my STFD ticket too, I remember that, and the look on the parent's face when the kid came home with it. Because that's, how do you, with the job that I had and the things that I did, how do you name one thing? Because I was a part of every air show. I was a part of the balloon show. I was part of every festival flight. I was part of everything. And if anybody needed anything or wanted, well, like a pie slap in the face, I was always chosen. I was even part of the Cops for Cancer. I sat up on the stage and they shaved my head. Now, how much they still got, I think it was $50 for it, so I said it was for each hair.
I thought long and hard about this one. My favourite memory in Gander, because I grew up in Louiseport. I moved to Gander when I was 24 and I got married and had a child. But my favourite memory is back for the festival flights. My daughter was young. We used to go to Cobb's Pond. We put out our blanket and we sit down and we used to buy our little food and little trinkets and stuff there and be music playing. And we just greet other families we haven't seen people in a while, and you show off your child, and like you just talk about the old-fashioned talking instead of being on your phones. Is what I liked.
Thank you so much for joining us. We hope you found this informative, and we hope you get out and vote. You can vote on June 10th at the advance polls at the Town Hall, or you can vote on June 13th at the Steele Community Center. Huge thank you to the candidates for coming out and answering our questions and for running in the election. Hope you found this informative and hope you get out and vote.
If you have a comment about this program, we'd love to hear it. Email or call us, or send us your feedback through social media.
Hi, can I take your order? Hello?
Oh, hey. Wait, what was the question?
Let me guess. One driving high combo, extra baked?
No. Could I get a burger with a side of fries?
Think you're a better driver when you're high? Think again. Smoking weed affects reaction time and concentration. A message from Mad Canada.
Looking for the best way to get the Major League Baseball games you want to watch? Rogers Super Sports Pack has you covered. With MLB Extra Innings, you'll have a premium ticket to out-of-market regular season games with all games available in HD. Don't miss the action from the games you want from both the American and National Leagues. MLB Extra Innings